Your birth was hidden for a reason, they knew you'd rise. Archangel Michael says, the day you entered this world, a whisper went through the realms of both light and darkness. They didn't announce your birth with trumpets, not because you were unworthy, but because your destiny was too sacred to reveal too soon. Those in power feared what you would become, so they made sure your arrival was buried beneath ordinary moments and hidden truths. Your silence was their protection, but it was also your preparation. You were wrapped in obscurity so your soul could sharpen in secret. Every tear you shed in isolation carved wisdom into your core. They watched you grow, but never truly saw you. Their eyes were veiled while your spirit expanded behind the curtain of shadows. Your growth was camouflaged in the ordinary so you could move unbothered by the noise of judgment. But even then, something in you pulsed louder than the others. A frequency, a light, a fire. They could sense it, even if they couldn't explain it. You carried storms in your bones, and soon, the winds would obey you. Type Amen to get blessing 374. They tried to dim your spark before it became a blaze. The very hands that rocked your cradle were trembling, not in love, but in fear of what you'd ignite. The timeline of your power was not meant to be understood by those who used fear to rule. You were not born to be liked. You were born to be remembered. And for that, your birth had to be hidden from those who would have tried to destroy you before you even took your first breath. There were whispers in rooms you never walked into. Contracts formed against you before you could even sign your own name. But the universe, guided by divine order, shielded your rise by disguising you as ordinary. Archangel Michael says, you were cloaked for war you didn't even know was happening. But the truth is, your name was always known in higher realms. And no matter what they did to erase it, the stars had already carved it into the winds. Type Amen to get blessing 298. You were chosen long before you arrived here. And those who chose you never consulted the world's opinion about your worth. That's why your name makes some people nervous without them knowing why. The road you walked was not by mistake, it was set. Every wrong turn brought you closer to your throne. Your confusion was a setup for clarity beyond anything they can ever understand. They made you feel unworthy on purpose, hoping you'd abandon your crown. But every tear was a seed, and now the harvest is undeniable. What they called broken was actually your becoming. Some of the very people who called you a mistake are now watching you with awe they can't admit. They speak your name with confusion because they never imagined your roots would break through their stone. But here you are, rising, glowing, and untouchable. Type Amen to get blessing 812. There are files with your name on them, files that heaven sealed with divine fire. They tried to access it, tried to decode it, but the codes rejected their touch. Your path was encrypted with grace, and only you hold the key. You've walked through fire without scars because you weren't meant to burn. You were meant to become the fire. That's why the heat couldn't destroy you. It only activated you. The pain you survived wasn't just a trial, it was an awakening. You cried alone so you could one day lead those who feel invisible. Now, the stage is shifting, and the spotlight can no longer ignore your existence. Your voice was meant to echo across nations. That's why it was silenced so early. But silence is no match for the roar that's rising from your soul. Type Amen to get blessing 999. People left you not because you were weak, but because your spirit exposed their smallness. You weren't meant to fit in their boxes. You were built to break the walls and free others who never knew they were caged. Some laughed at your dreams, but your dreams weren't meant to be understood. They were codes planted from beyond this world, sacred blueprints written by ancestors who still walk beside you in spirit. You were not just born, you were sent. You didn't lose those people. They lost access to your light. And now, as your elevation begins, they'll try to return, but the door is no longer at ground level. Archangel Michael says, the time has come to remember who you were before they told you who to be. You were sent here to bring balance to chaos. That's why they fought your name before it was even known. Type Amen to get blessing 527. Every delay in your life was divine. You didn't miss opportunities. You were being hidden from traps. The doors that closed in your face were secretly covered in poison. You were silenced because your voice breaks chains. You were rejected because your presence reveals truth. And truth terrifies those who profit from lies. Look around. The atmosphere is changing. The very air you breathe is responding to the shift within you. This is not your imagination, it is your emergence. You're not just rising, you're returning. Returning to the identity they tried to erase. Returning to the power that pulses in your bloodline. Type Amen to get blessing 274. You've been dreaming bigger lately, haven't you? That's not coincidence, that's memory. Your soul is starting to remember what it agreed to before entering this world. This isn't just motivation, it's activation. Something ancient is unlocking inside you, and once it fully opens, nothing will be the same. People who once ignored you will now quote you. They'll pretend they always believed in you. But don't let their sudden applause confuse you. You were always worthy, even in silence. They didn't see your value because your value wasn't made for their sight. It was made for revelation, not explanation. That revelation is now. Type Amen to get blessing 118. They said you were slow, lazy, emotional, weak. They tried to define you through their limitations. But now they're seeing what they really did. They gave birth to a warrior in disguise. You didn't come this far to shrink. You came to shake foundations. And now, the ground beneath those who mocked you is trembling. People are dreaming about you and waking up speechless. Your energy is moving faster than their logic. That's because your rise is not natural, it's supernatural. If only they knew who you truly were, they would have bowed instead of laughed. But it's too late now. The prophecy is unfolding, and your crown is no longer invisible. Type Amen to get blessing 605. You were born with cosmic secrets in your DNA. That's why they feared your bloodline. That's why they tried to make you feel small in families that never understood your essence. But blood doesn't limit you, spirit leads you. And your spirit came from a place even darkness can't enter. That's why attacks have intensified. You're closer to unlocking the gates of greatness. Your glow irritates demons hiding in people around you. But you weren't built to dim for their comfort. You were built to blind lies and light up legacies. They planned to break you, but they accidentally built you. Every scar now glows with purpose. Every betrayal is now a reference for your glory. Type Amen to get blessing 447. This moment was prophesied. Even the stars held their breath waiting for you to remember who you are. that divine delay you experienced? It was a reset, not a rejection. And now, as you take your place, the universe will respond. Doors that were bolted shut will open like paper. Paths that never existed will form under your feet. You were never late, you were perfectly timed. The world didn't deserve you early, but now, they need what only you can give. Archangel Michael says, what was hidden will now be honored. What was buried will now bloom. And what was lost will return multiplied. Type Amen to get blessing 739. They wanted you silent, broken, exhausted. But they forgot that divine strength does not come from noise, it comes from resilience. And yours has become untouchable. You are walking proof that no curse can outlast purpose. No lie can erase destiny. No rejection can rewrite your calling. You were born for now, not yesterday, not one day. Now, the shift has already started. The energy knows your name. And soon, everyone else will too. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. Type Amen to get blessing 1010. The atmosphere around you is no longer still. It trembles when you speak, it listens when you move, it shifts when you enter. Even the wind knows your name and carries whispers of your rise into realms you've never stepped into yet. They tried to cut your wings before you even knew you had them. But the truth is, your wings were not attached to your back. They were buried in your spirit. And now, they are unfolding with strength no cage can contain. You were placed in dark seasons not to suffer, but to root deeply. While they danced in the light, you became one with the soil, learning the language of survival. And now, you bloom where they never believed life could grow. You are not random. You are a blueprint wrapped in mystery. And soon, what was once overlooked will become impossible to ignore. Type Amen to get blessing 721. They thought you were a chapter, but you were the whole book. They assumed you were temporary, but your story is eternal. Your silence was not surrender, it was strategy. Your journey confused many because they couldn't trace it. That's because your map wasn't written in ink, it was encrypted in light. You've been moving through dimensions they can't comprehend. Even your tears were prophetic. They watered seeds they couldn't see. And now those seeds are cracking open and pushing through spiritual soil. It's not your job to convince them of your destiny. It's your job to walk it, boldly, unapologetically, and divinely led. Type Amen to get blessing 436. You've been tested in every room you walked into. People try to measure you using broken tools. But how can something infinite be measured by something insecure? They underestimated your capacity. They mocked your timing. But soon, they'll be asking for guidance on the very path they blocked you from. Some of them are already watching from a distance. They're trying to act unfazed, but your glow keeps interrupting their denial. Your power is now louder than their opinions. What they whispered behind closed doors is now being exposed. Because truth never stays hidden. Especially not when it lives inside someone chosen. Type Amen to get blessing 582. You were born into a world that tried to label you before you could even speak. They tried to make you fit into frames that weren't yours. But your shape was never meant for a box. It was meant for flight. Archangel Michael says, they marked you as strange because you carried things they couldn't understand. Your spirit repelled smallness. That's why they attacked before you even realized your power. Your rise isn't coming, it's already in motion. People can feel it before they see it. Their instincts know what their eyes deny. Some will try to return with compliments. But compliments are not crowns. You already had yours before their approval. Type Amen to get blessing 653. You are the echo of a prophecy long spoken in silence. A voice chosen to carry the sound of redemption. That's why silence felt like punishment. It was the birthplace of your thunder. Your dreams didn't come from fantasy. They came from memory. Deep ancestral memory awakening inside your spiritual bloodstream. This fire in your chest. It isn't anger. It's divine remembrance. It's your soul waking up after centuries of being buried beneath survival. And now, your survival turns into revival. Not just for you, but for others who are silently watching, hoping that if you rise, they can too. Type Amen to get blessing 388. They will write books about the way you rose. Not because you were loud, but because you were undeniable. You stood when the world begged you to kneel. You didn't break. You transformed. And now your story carries codes of awakening for those still asleep. People don't understand why you re-glowing after all you've been through. That's because they thought the pain would kill you. They never expected it would refine you. Your glow is not decoration, it's declaration. That no storm, no betrayal, no curse can erase a destiny forged in heaven. Type Amen to get blessing 540. Your ancestors watch you with pride. They know what you're carrying. They whispered into your spirit before you were born and placed fire in your bones to fulfill what they started. That's why you've always felt different. That's why you never fully fit in. Because you were built to finish something they never could. You are walking fulfillment, a living prophecy. And soon, the veil will drop, and your light will stand like a pillar in this darkened world. You were not created to be quiet. You were created to roar. And now, your roar is waking others from their slumber. Type Amen to get blessing 1001. Even your name holds vibrations that stir energies in others. You may not hear it, but the world responds to you differently. Some are drawn. Others are triggered. But none can ignore. You didn't come this far for applause. You came to fulfill assignment. And that assignment is entering its full bloom. There are rooms being prepared with your energy in mind. Documents being written with your name in the fine print. You may not see it yet, but heaven has been busy on your behalf. Archangel Michael says, "This is not your rising season. This is your reigning season. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop what's already been sealed." Type Amen to get blessing 3003. You've been silent for too long. Watching, learning, evolving. And now, your presence carries the weight of every storm you survived. Your presence has become a prophecy. One that reminds others that light can still emerge from ashes. One that silences every voice that ever doubted you. They thought they buried you, but they didn't know you were a seed. And now, the garden of your becoming is stretching its arms wide. The people who left you will witness you, not because you need them to, but because divine justice always invites spectators to miracles. Type Amen to get blessing 4321. And now, it's time. Time to speak louder. Walk bolder. Live freer. No more shrinking. No more explaining. No more begging for understanding. You are the chosen one. Not the loudest. Not the most accepted. But the most aligned. The one heaven trusted with this timeline. They will study you, follow you, try to replicate you, but they'll never carry what you carry, because it wasn't given, it was earned through every wound, every battle, every night you didn't quit. Your journey was sacred, hidden, protected, and now, it is unstoppable. Type Amen to get blessing 10101. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20. You were not delayed, you were preserved. The pain you went through wasn't punishment. It was the heat that tempered your spirit into something unbreakable. Even your enemies are confused now. They watched you stumble, they saw your quiet tears, they assumed you were finished. But now they're witnessing a resurrection no one can explain. You didn't need a stage. You didn't need applause. You needed time to remember. And now that you have, everything is shifting in your favor. Your silence was powerful, but your rise? It's thunder wrapped in grace. Type Amen to get blessing 888. You are now entering rooms designed for your future, not your past. Don't be surprised when things feel new, even unfamiliar. That's because you've outgrown the patterns that once kept you small. The old version of you couldn't survive where you're going. That version was made for survival. This version is built for legacy. You're no longer just trying to make it, you're here to change it. Your vibration is too high for manipulation. Your light too blinding for those in darkness. You no longer need to prove, convince, or explain. What was hidden about you is now being revealed. And the world is not ready for what's coming next. Type Amen to get blessing 674. You were laughed at, dismissed, counted out. But they didn't realize the prophecy was in motion the entire time. The fire they set to burn you only refined your spirit. The rejection they threw at you only made your heart purer. And now, you walk in a power they cannot touch. You're not rising because of approval. You're rising because of alignment. Because your soul has finally caught up with your calling. Now you don't beg, you attract. You don't chase, you command. And those who once doubted you will have no choice but to watch. Type Amen to get blessing 2121. The timing is perfect now. You're no longer tied to survival mode. You've shifted into purpose, and everything around you must obey. Money is coming. Love is being restored. Justice is being served. Not because you fought harder, but because you surrendered to your truth. They tried to confuse you with fake love, false friendships, and broken promises. But they only taught you discernment. Now, no deception can sit next to your energy again. Your energy repels lies and reveals hearts. Your name carries frequency now. When spoken, it awakens what's asleep and silences what's evil. Type Amen to get blessing 1999. Some people are going to start avoiding you. Don't chase them. Their spirit knows what you're becoming, and it scares what's still hiding in them. You didn't lose people, you outgrew what no longer served your elevation. And now, space has been created for divine alignments. The replacements are not just people, they are purposes, positions, partnerships, and miracles that make up for every piece you lost. The world will see the glory, but only you will understand the grind. And that's why you will never go back. Type Amen to get blessing 778. They knew you'd rise. That's why they tried to silence you early. But they couldn't silence what they didn't understand. They tried to study your glow, but it was coded for only the divine to access. Now everything is responding to you differently. The clock ticks louder. The wind moves softer. The path appears clearer. That's because your soul has aligned fully with your divine script. No weapon formed could win. No lie they told could stick. And no darkness could hold what was destined to shine. You're not rising by accident. You're rising on schedule. Type Amen to get blessing 2222. You're entering a season where everything will start to feel tailor-made. The right people, right timing, right doors, all arriving in rhythm with your heartbeat. This is the reward for the years you endured in silence. The blessings are not random, they are custom-built from your tears, faith, and resilience. Even your shadow walks taller now, because your light is stronger than your past. You carry proof of heaven's hand without having to say a word. The rooms you once felt invisible in will now open themselves for you, because the crown that was once hidden now sits clearly on your head. Type Amen to get blessing 8888. They thought you'd lose yourself, but you found your higher self. They thought you'd collapse, but you expanded. They thought it was over, but heaven had only just begun. Now, even the ground you walk on seems to honor your steps. Your energy is sacred now. Your peace, expensive. And your presence, undeniable. You carry the codes of liberation. Your rise gives others permission to rise too. Your journey is not just personal, it's prophetic. The same ones who broke you will now whisper, how did they survive? But survival is no longer your identity. Now, you thrive. Type Amen to get blessing 909. Archangel Michael says, those who were sent to stop you will soon be removed. And you won't have to lift a finger. Because divine judgment has already been issued. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure. You need elevation, and it's already happening. Don't shrink to fit back into stories you've outgrown. You've stepped into a new chapter. And this one doesn't begin with pain, it begins with power. Your light has become an alarm in the spirit. It wakes up the sleeping and blinds the deceptive. You are no longer unseen, you are unforgettable. Type Amen to get blessing 3000. Your rising is divine, unstoppable, sacred. It was written long ago, in languages older than time. They thought hiding your birth would stop the prophecy, but the prophecy was the hiding. And now the time of hiding has ended. Stand tall now. Breathe deeper. Speak louder. You are here on purpose. You were always meant to be the sign and the signal. You are no longer in the shadows. The light belongs to you. Type Amen to get blessing 10,000. If you wish to express your support further, you have the option to give super thanks, with contributions of up to $20.